What's up, guys? This is Tim back with TestDemy. We're back, part two, looking at list data type. In part one, we looked at introduction to lists, what lists are, what list is, the kind of container it is, and how you can store a variety of data types. So for today, part two of the list data type function within Python, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at a variety of different methods within lists and how you can actually call these methods while you're writing your code to be more effective programmer. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Just a quick recap what we looked at the last video, and if you haven't, go back and check out tutorial number 11. We looked at list part one, but for this part, I want to do a quick recap real quick. We talked about with list, you can store objects in a specific order, right? So we had a list called NBA teams, and don't forget, here's your syntax when you want to create a list. It's the open and close square parentheses, okay? Now, so we had our list called NBA teams, right? And we had named Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, Boston Celtics. And when we print this list out, we printed NBA teams out, it's going to print it every time in the same order, right? We're going to look at a different data type called dictionary. And with dictionary data type, it can change the order in which it prints it out onto your screen. But with list, it's the same specific order every time. Okay. Another thing we looked at list from the last tutorial session was that list can store any data type. And as you can see in our list here, we called our list variety of data types. We can store an integer. We stored a string between these parentheses, double quotes, sorry. We stored a floating point number, 2.5. We stored the Boolean value true and also the Boolean value false. So we had these different items stored within our list called variety of data types, and we called or printed out this list with the print function. Right, so a list can store a variety of data types. So for example, think about you're trying to create a program with a student, a university student, and they have their name, age, social security number. So name is going to be first and last name is going to be a string. Social security number is going to be integer. Maybe their GPA like 3.8, 4.0. That's perhaps going to be a floating point, and perhaps you might also have, let's say, looking at another example, they might have, are they registered for school, or have they paid their school fees for the semester? Yes or no? Excuse me, true or false, right? So you can see how you can mix and match a variety of data types for a real case scenario. In this case, when it comes to a particular student in university, or a variety of other examples, right? So the other thing we looked at from last time was that lists are mutable, and when an item, or excuse me, when a function or a data type is mutable within Python, it pretty much means that you can change the actual contents of what's in the container. So the container is a list. You can actually change what's inside of it, right? You can add things. We added Golden State Warriors, if you remember that, and when you use the append method. You can also remove things, or you can actually change things. So that's what we're going to start today. I'm going to just do something simple, guys. We're going to create a simple list called num, right, which stands for numbers. All right, so let me just call it numbers, right? I'm going to show you guys something cool. All right, so within this list, we're going to number 1, 2, integer 2, and 3, right? That's our list. Very simple list, and we can print it out and print numbers. And let me just do what we've normally done just to make some demarcations for us to follow along simple. Okay, so we're just going to print this out to the screen. And you can see printed our list, 1, 2, 3. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to do something. So we're going to look at this later in some videos coming up, which are called conditional statements. Sorry, excuse me. And this first conditional statement we're going to look at is called a for loop. All right, so we're going to print this out, right? Just check this out. We're going to say for I. Just follow along and type along so you can just go along with me. I'm going to say for I. All right, excuse me. For I in range, and range is just pretty much a sort of like a list. We want to print a number 1 to 10, right? So let's say this is going to say print the numbers 1 to 10. So this is going to be a little challenge. The numbers 1 to 10, right, using a list. All right. All right, so let's go back in our code here. Let me bring this up here, okay? So 1 to 10, we're going to do, so if you want to print from 1 to 10, right, if you notice, our list went up to 3, so we want to start from the number 4, right? So we're going to say, pardon me, so we're going to go to our range function. We're going to say 4, and you want to go 4 all the way to 11, because remember we looked at an index last time. You always print up to the number before. So in this case, if we want to print to 10, we have to go to 11, right? So you're going to put your colon, hit enter. It's going to indent in Python using indentations. And so what we're going to do now is for this block of code, we're going to type now, we're going to do numbers, and we're going to now use this append method, right? So we're looking at the append method. All right, so let's just type this on. This is using the append method. The append method, okay? All right, so you're going to do append. All right, so what do you want to append? You're going to append I, right? So what this does, we're going to talk about this later in for loops, is this I, all it's pretty much saying is here, it's going to say for I in range. So what it's doing here, it's going to start from, for example, here from the number 4, here, for I in range, pardon me, it's going to say for I in range, and it's going to append the number 4, and it's going to add 4 to your list, pretty much, right? So you're going to go back and add 4 to this list, right? That's what it's doing every time, and it's going to go around that loop every time. So we're going to put for I in range 4 through 11, numbers dot append I, and we're going to do now, we're going to just now print numbers. So check this out. You're going to notice it's actually going to append from the number 4 all the way to 10. So just showing how for loops can actually do this faster for us, right? And you see that right here, right? You see I appended this. We start the previous one we appended, we typed was 3, and now it appended 4 through 10. So that's a great thing about a list. You can, lists are mutable. You can add items to them. Let me show you guys also something cool. Let's move this print function up here, and you're going to see how the for loop actually works, right? So if you notice this here, notice the first time it looped around using the append method, it went 1 through 4, right? It appended a number 4, first of all, because you're starting from number 4. So it appended 4. Then the next time it looped around, it went through the loop because it's a for loop, right? It appended 5. The next time it looped around, it appended 6, 7, and so forth, all the way to 10 till it printed it out. So that's an example of a append method. The next thing I want us to look at here is how do you remove an item from a list? Remember, we talked about a list being mutable, right? So this is removing items, remove the last item from a list. So if we go back to our example, right? Our example, pardon me, with the NBA teams. So if you guys don't recall, let's go ahead and print that back out. NBA teams, you already have that initialized earlier here. If you remember, stores objects in a specific order. Here, NBA teams, Kings, Lakers, Celtics, right? And later we went ahead and appended the Golden State Warriors to them because they were the NBA champs. I don't know. I wasn't feeling that, but anyway, it's a different topic. All right, so let's do print. We're going to print our NBA teams, and it should have the Warriors. Oh, I'm doing that twice, pardon me. All right, so let's go ahead and print this out. All right, you can see it has our 4 NBA teams. All right, so let's go ahead and put this here to help us. Okay, pardon me. Okay, let's grab this. And let's go ahead and put that there. And we don't want this to print the long pyramid version. Let's keep it simple. All right, so we're going to do the pop method. So we're going to drop NBA team. We're going to drop the Warriors, right? So let's see. So we're going to do what I want you to do here to show you how the pop method works. The pop method. The good thing about this, you're going to see the NBA team list, the full list, and you're going to see when after it's been popped. So you're going to type in NBA teams. All right, you're going to put period. Type P, pop. You can see the pop method comes up. Then what do you want to pop? The pop method naturally is going to pop the last item from that particular list. So now we're going to do print NBA teams. And it should go ahead and pop that out. That last, it should pop this Warriors out of there. So if you noticed it here, here was our original list. Sacramento Kings, Lakers, Boston Celtics, Golden State Warriors, which correlates with this particular print function, NBA teams. But now when we ran or included the pop method, what the pop method does, it takes away the last item from your list or from your container. It takes the very last item you put in and it begins to pop it from the back all the way out. So if I pop again for Boston Celtics, pop it again is going to pop Boston Celtics. But in this case, you can see we popped the Golden State Warriors. So that's the pop method and how you use the list. The next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at the length function. So if you want to get the length, right, of a particular function. So let's go ahead and print this out. How do you get the length? So we're just looking at different functions or methods with the on using list. So let's go ahead and print the list the length. Let's say that 5 times fast. Let's go ahead and print the length of a list. So we're gonna say, right? We're gonna say print, and we're gonna run the length method, and we're gonna say NBA teams, right? So this time it should be 3, because if you guys remember the last time we printed the NBA teams after we popped the Golden State Warriors, we should only have 3 NBA teams. So when we run this length function within the print uh, function also, it should only print, 3 teams. And if you notice here, it just prints the 3 teams. You can see them: Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, and Boston Celtics, right? So that's using the len function with list, just like we did with strings in our previous video sessions. All right, so what you can also do is you can also combine 2 lists using the plus operator, so which is pretty cool, kind of like concatenation. So let's go ahead and do this also. I want to show you guys a variety of examples just to give you a lot of things to play with and get better. So let's go ahead and print that out. And we're gonna create another list. We're gonna call, actually what I'm gonna do, uh, let's see, let's just let's add to our numbers list, right? So we have if we print our numbers list, you guys remember our print was 1 through 10, right? If we go ahead and run this for our print numbers, you can see it prints our numbers 1 through 10. So we want to append, not append, we want to concatenate this list with another list. So we can call the next one, we're going to call this one, we're going to say floating points, right? So I'm going to call float numbers, right? So because we want to add these 2 list items together. So we're going to say float numbers, and we're going to start a new, create a new list. Remember, open and close brackets, square brackets. And we're going to say 1.0, right? 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. Okay, so that's our floating point. So let's go ahead and print that out. And we're going to print float numbers. Okay, so we're showing how you can actually use the addition operator to concatenate both of them, right? So let's go ahead and print this so we can see a demarcation. All right, so let's run that. All right, so our first list, 1 through 10, which is our numbers list, and we have our floating point list, which shows 1.0 all the way to 5.0. So now if we want to go ahead and concatenate or add those 2 up, we're going to say print. We're going to print numbers plus float numbers, okay? And let's go ahead and run that. And as you guys can see, it went ahead and added everything and made one huge list. And we can go ahead and actually count that and say, okay, how many items are in that list? I don't know, maybe 15. But why do we want to count it when we can just have Python do this for us? Let's see. Actually, I know what I can do here. Let's see. We can just call this total. Call this total. Okay. All right. So we can do print total. Let's see here. All right. So it prints total for us. So we can do. We can just do length, right? Let's go ahead and run this length of that total. So because what we did is we stored the results of this numbers list, and we stored the results of the float numbers list. We stored it in the variable called total, and now we're printing the length of this total variable now, so which should show us 15. You guys see that? All right, so it shows us 15 here. All right, so we looked at how to add operators. We've looked at the length function. We looked at the pop. We looked at the append function. We're going to look at a couple more. We're going to look at okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at another functionality you can do with the list methods. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and comment this out. And if you guys notice, I'm just commenting out what we're doing so you can know what exactly is happening anytime in your code what we're doing. So this is it says here, so you can check if an item is in a list with the in keyword. I should call that in keyword, right? In keyword. All right. Let's see. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna say we're gonna print our NBA teams. Again, you guys remember NBA teams? We only have 3 teams. Yep. So let's go ahead and print NBA teams. Right. So let's go ahead and print NBA teams. There should only be 3 teams in there: Sacramento Kings, Lakers, LA Lakers, and Boston Celtics. Right. So if you want to do the in keyword, what you want to do is you're gonna print and you're gonna say, for example, you're gonna say um, LA Lakers, right? So you put the LA Lakers string in, right, in keyword in NBA team. So it's going to check, is this LA Lakers string, does it reside within in keyword, does it reside in NBA teams list? So is that true or false? Right? You can see it's true. Right? We can also do now, if I call this, if I say uh, the Spurs, right? San Antonio Spurs. So if I say the San Antonio Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs, are they are in our list of NBA teams? Right? You can see false. They're not. Too bad, Spurs fans. We love y'all, but hey, not today. Y'all ain't make it. Y'all ain't make the finals. All right, just playing. But you see, I can make a game. You can make a game of Final Four. Did this team make the Final Four? And then the list of the Kentucky Wildcats in the list, or the Texas Longhorns in the list. You know, you can do a lot of great things with that. So let's go ahead and put Lakers back. Right. The other thing I want to show you guys is finally, is this not in? Right. It's the same thing as the list function that we just looked at. So we can just go ahead and comment this out. And I can just copy this here just so we can write our code. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to type in the Golden State Warriors. Does it still reside? Golden State uh, Warriors. All right. So we're going to say Golden State Warriors not in list. But let me do this. Let's print NBA teams, right? Just to make it clear, just to help. Let's print NBA teams, right? So it's going to first of all print out a list of our NBA teams. It's going to say, it's going to check, is the Golden State Warriors not in NBA teams? That answer is true because they're not in it. It's true. They're not in our NBA teams list. So you see that? Sacramento Kings, LA Lakers, Boston Celtics, Golden State Warriors, it's true. They're not in there. But now, if we type in Boston Celtics, right? Based on our last example, Boston Celtics are not in NBA teams. Is that true or false? It's false. They're in there, right? Because the Boston Celtics, you can see they're in NBA teams, right? So I wanted to show you guys a few examples of how to use list. Let me show you one more thing. Indexing. Also going to show indexing with list. So if we look at our NBA teams again, and we say print NBA teams, okay? Uh, print NBA teams, and we're going to just do the same thing. We're going to do index, right? You guys remember the index from our slicing? Index 0. What do you guys think that should print, right? It should print Sacramento Kings, right? So we just did the index for Sacramento Kings. Same thing. We do 1, and I put in here. Let's go ahead and just print NBA teams here. All right. List of NBA teams, Sacramento Kings, index 0. LA Lakers index 1, which is what printed out in Boston Celtics index 2. If we reverse this and we do -1, it's the same thing that we did with strings, right? Remember, -1 starts from the very last. So -1, Boston Celtics, right? And Boston Celtics actually are going to print it out. Now, what you can also do is you can replace an item within the variable. Okay, so what you can do here is you can assign an index, an item that's within the list. You can give it a new assignment, right? Kind of like how we did for variables in the last few videos. All right, so let's do it here. So let's do we're gonna do NBA teams. So we'll do NBA teams, and we're gonna do like the index 0, right? So let's say we're replacing the Sacramento Kings, right? We're gonna replace Sacramento Kings. Remember the index 0. We're gonna replace them with the LA Clippers. I know. Clippers are cool, but yeah. All right, so replace them with LA Clippers, and what's going to happen now? We print NBA teams, and what's going to happen? The Kings should be bye-bye. They've been eliminated from the playoffs by the Clippers. You can see that here. Clippers are new Kings in the West there, the conference, and you see the Clippers have been replaced. So now if we print, and check this out. So if we actually now print NBA teams, and we do index 0, right, you're going to notice, right, you can see here, Clippers were replaced. We replaced Sacramento Kings. We printed out the NBA teams, Clippers, Lakers, Boston Celtics, the 0th index, the Clippers, and they were printed out. So those are the examples of list. And I want you guys to do great things with it. Play some games. You can do a random numbers game. There's a numbers game I have here. Let me show you guys real quick, just in the next few seconds. It's gonna be a pretty quick game. So let's say the name of the game is gonna be, let's see, we're gonna say guess the number. All right. We already have our number. So we're gonna say here, we're gonna call a variable called guess, right? And let's see, we're gonna say input. We're gonna do our input variable, input function, and we're gonna say pick a number. Pick a number from 1 to 10. Show you how to put all this together, guys. 1 to 10, right? That's our game. All right, pick a number from 1 to 10. All right, and let's see. And you guys remember our numbers, right? Our numbers were, let me just print this out. Our numbers were, I believe it was 1 through 10, and we added some floating points at the end, but that's fine. So let me just print this. Let me comment this out. So you see our numbers. Okay, yeah, it's 1 to 10, right? Because we want to play a game. Guess the number game. All right, let's do that. Guess the number game. Okay, so print numbers. So I can take this out. We know what our numbers are, right? All right, so let me comment this out. So our guess variable, right, has been assigned to the input function with the string within it that was passed. Pick a number from 1 to 10. So we're gonna say if if um, if guess, so the input the input the user puts in is if guess is in number, right? In numbers, right? Because you guys remember our numbers. Let's pull that up here. So we just make it easier for you to follow. All right. So that's our numbers, and this was our numbers. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So we have the numbers list, right? And we have the guessed variable, right? And we say if guessed in number. So if the number to input is in this numbers list, right? Print U1. So a simple game, right? Else, and we'll look at this later. We'll look at condition statements, right? You're gonna print else. You lose, bro. You lost. You lost. So you lost, right? So it's a pretty simple game. Pretty cool. All right. And now let's go ahead and run our game. Uh, and if you notice here at the bottom, it says, actually, let's do this. Let me clear out most of this. Let me just comment this out. This is going to be a huge comment. I'm going to just comment a lot of our code out just for the sake of our game. All right, so we can just have just that print on the screen, okay? All right, you see that? It says pick a number from 1 to 10. All right, so I'm picking a number. I pick 10. All right, I don't know. It says I lost. Why is that? Right? Why is that? So if guess in numbers, print U1, but 10 is in there. So let's try this again. Maybe something's wrong with our game. Let's run it again. Let's see. It says pick a number. Let's pick a number 1. It says you lost. So something's wrong with our code. We have to fix the bug, right? So let's see. If guess in numbers, right? Okay, okay, I know what the issue is. So let me say let me tell you guys what the issue is, right? Um, the input function takes in any value you pass to it, right? So when we put in our number, the game is working, but we just have to do a little tweak. Whatever we put in as the input, right? It actually is taking it as a string. So when you put a value in, let's say I put 1, it's looking at 1 as a string, right? But so it checks the list, but these are all what? These are all integers. So let me show you how it's going to work. Let me just show you this little hack. So if I put make 1 a string and I run this game again, it's going to pass, right? Because it's expecting a string. The input function takes in a string. So if I guess a number and I guess 1 as a string 1, if I just pass 1, because it's going to say if I put 1 here, oh, pardon me, if I put 1 into our input, it sees this as a string, not an integer. And that's what the input function is expecting when you pass this particular you know, item to it, a function, a number, a string, really, sorry. All right, so it should pass now. You see, it says you won. So that's what's happening. So if you want to fix this, what you want to do is you want to come here and want to use the input function. Just wrap this in the input function. It's going to convert everything that's passed as a string to an integer, right? Because our list here, we have nothing but 10 integers. So now we should be good. So if we run this program again, pick a number, and I pick 5, we win, right? Run it again. Let's see, and we pick 7, we won. Run it again. What did we do? We had 10 last time. You won, all right? We just winning, winners, all right? So now let's pick a different number. Let's pick like 2.1.0. Bam. Okay. Okay, we're saying invalid input, right? I didn't like that. So we have to fix our code because of that floating point. We have to fix that. But let's pick like 17, right? See that it says you lost because that's what our program does. So that's pretty much it, guys. I know this video is pretty long, but I wanted to kind of dig deep on the variety of different methods that can be used with list. Hope you guys learned something. But till then, I'll see you, the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace. TestDemy. We out. Holla.